welcome. This is episode 3 in Loving the Law. It is another one. So you guys have tuned in for another episode with me and my
Thank you.
beautiful wife Tessie. Um, Today the topic that I think we were going to discuss was legitimation and that process that we went through. Um, my side of it and some of I guess Tessie's thoughts on how it affected her and moving forward. Uh, so I had my daughter when I was in college. It was my senior year, and it was. I don't want to say that it was planned, but it also wasn't unplanned. I was old enough to know better, and we were together for some time after that. I graduated, so we moved from New York to Atlanta. Shortly after that, we got here, moved into an apartment, and we decided we wanted to get a house. That was the original plan. At that time, I was like, okay, this is better for me and my family to have a house. You know, it's that legacy, that just wealth. So we ended up, excuse me, we ended up purchasing a house, and then shortly after that, we ended up splitting up. Well, I never thought that it was going to be a situation where I wasn't going to be have access to my daughter. I didn't think that some of the situations that we went through was going to happen. And also going to court, I had that same idea that a lot of men have. You go to court and you're going to get railroaded. You're going to get taken for the maximum amount of child support. You don't get to see your child, and just all the horror stories that I had heard.
How old was she then, though?
She was 3. She was 3. I want to say she was 3 years old when we got here. So when we fast forward to now, we split up. And coincidentally, we had broken up, and the living situation was kind of all over the place. She was still in the home. I had moved in with a friend from college that I knew from the football team, and I was living with him. Meanwhile, when I would want to spend time with my daughter, it was an issue. No, you can't have her, or I could have her for Friday nights when you were going out, and so on and so forth. But if it was, hey, I want to take her to this, oh, I'm busy, or hey, I want to take her home back to New York, I'm busy. And coincidentally, I had met Tessie shortly after the breakup. So it kind of, I guess, maybe might have been a perfect storm. I just assumed that all attorneys knew everything and she could answer all my questions. So at the time when I met her, it was genuine. And I was like, well, if I can just hold on to your number, I'm going through some things with my daughter. I want to ask you a couple questions to see how I can get through this. So we ended up talking later on. We did talk about Anicia some. You answered some questions and you let me know, well, no, that's not really what I practice, but you need to do these things, and so on and so forth. And it was the first time that I had heard the word legitimation. And from state to state, it's different. So I just assumed in Indiana, I signed the birth certificate, so I'm good. You know that I'm the dad. But here in Georgia, it didn't mean anything. And I learned at that time, I'm just taker.
But see, now when we first met and we first started dating, and you were fresh out of a breakup. Well, not fresh, but a couple months out of the breakup,
Mhm.
and you were telling me that you were having these issues. And I was a prosecutor. I didn't know anything about family law. Florida was the same. If you signed a birth certificate, you were legitimized. It was equal custody. And but I remember you were telling me that you had some concerns about paternity, and you were telling me, I think she mine, but I don't know for sure if she mine. She looks just like, or people think she looks like me, but the other guy looks like me
Well, I mean, people
too.
people date and they say you have a type.
Uh
So
huh.
I don't think that we per se looked alike. But if you were to describe us to somebody,
It could
you
be the same
it could be the
person.
same person. And I knew then, if I'm about to be going through this for the next umpteen years, I don't want to have. I'm uncertain, and that's when you were like, well, if you're uncertain and this is kind of what you're going through now, you need to make sure you know.
Yes, just get a paternity test. Because if we were going to date, I didn't want to hear about if it's your child or not for the next 15 years. And if it was your child, I agree with what you agree with. If it's your child, that you're really going to figure out what you need to do to be involved in her life. Because if you weren't involved in her life and she's your child, we would not have been a thing. So,
That
okay,
that made sense. I
yeah,
mean, it's
let's get a
so
DNA test. And if you're going to go through this craziness for the next 15 years, you need to at least make sure she's yours.
so it
So,
it it through all of it, it was trying times. I think I had initially hired an attorney, didn't like the direction that was going, and I was just, I went to court and I felt like, hey, there were some situations where police had been called, um,
On
that
their end, not
on
ours.
on their end there were some violent situations that, again, the police had to be called to break up fights and a whole other bunch of things that I won't go into. So I went to court, hired my attorney, and I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to get a change of custody, not knowing that I hadn't legitimized her. So, okay, we're going to go to court. I'm going to get custody. And now my daughter won't be in this dangerous situation and be witnessing these fights and so on and so forth. And when I got there, it was, all right, we're going to get a guardian ad litem and all this. And I'm like, guardian ad litem, what's going on? So she's not going home with me? I played the 911 tape for you. And in my mind, it was something totally different how this was going to play out. And when he said, we're going to reset this court date, I'm thinking to myself, like, you crazy, attorney, you crazy. Forget all this nonsense. I didn't spend my money. Like, I was done because I just felt like, unfortunately, like some fathers feel, the court failed me. So it was a kind of defeated, but talking to Tessie, it was one of those situations where her being somewhat a voice of reason, no, you need to continue through this. You need to make sure that she's legitimized because it's going to give you rights and access, and this is just the first stepping stone to make sure that the dad that you want to be, this is giving you the opportunity to do that. So we got the paternity done. We did the legitimation, and the rest of that is kind of history, but it was a bumpy road along the process just the shenanigans that went back and forth. And again, when it was convenient, I got to be a dad, and when it wasn't convenient, I didn't get to be. So
Yeah, I remember going through that, and it was touch and go a lot. There was a lot of weekends, and I remember the frustration. I remember, when she turned 5, and you wanted to take her to Disney World, and then you had shared with her mother that you wanted to take her to Disney World, and so she made
hurried
sure
up and did
she
it
she her and her current boyfriend beat him to the punch and took him to Disney. And she's like, oh, well, her
during my
birthday,
parenting time.
I'm gonna take her to Disney. So they literally end up taking her to Disney World like 2 months in advance, just I think just to be mean. But the important thing with that was just understanding the process because it's so different from state to state, and to have been there so fully and not be able to have the access because y'all weren't together. It
It
was a
was
it was a
frustrating,
learning process. It was really a learning
and
process.
some of that was, I won't even say some of it. I think majority of that was my fault because you teach a person how to treat you, and what she had learned was, I can just do whatever I want, and he's not going to do anything about it. And over the time, she would do things, and I didn't go back to court. I didn't want to be bothered just because I still felt slighted from some of the earlier things. And then I had everybody telling me what I should be doing.
Including me.
And it just, at times, it was overwhelming because I felt like I would try to do those things, and it never played out the way that I felt like what they were telling me to do. So it was just, you all have a lot to say, but you're not the ones that's going through this. And me and Tessie used to have some, I guess you could call them disagreements on, it's easier for you to have that idea of this is what I should be doing, but your kids are here with you. And I was always reactive and not proactive. And with that being said, yes, I could do something to kind of tip the scales or to teach her that it wasn't okay. But it was always, she always got to retaliate in the meantime before we got to court. So I could do this or try to check her on something. But until we had that next court date, now it's, nah, you can't get her. Or, oh, I got something planned. Or, you know what? Yeah, I know you bought tickets to go to New York to visit your family. But I got family here too, so you're just gonna have to wait. Meanwhile, yeah, I can go to court. Christmas is past already, so it was just all those frustrating things together that just made it was a lot. It was trying, and again, everybody had their opinion, but it's different when you're the more or less the uncle on the outside trying to be a parent. And that's what it felt like a lot of the time. I don't know how it felt to you. I'm sure it was difficult, or you might have felt like I was letting her get away with a lot.
Oh, in the beginning I did, and we had a lot of arguments because of it. Because I felt like she would ask for a lot of favors. And by favors, hey, it was mostly, can you watch her this time, because she was going out of town or she had something to do. And so even if it was her parenting time, she could always ask you, can you keep her, because she had something going on. But it was never reciprocated that you could ask her. You never offered her your time. Anytime that you were supposed to have her, we had her. And there was times that I, would
My
pick her
parenting
up.
time was the one that was getting taken away.
You would lose parenting time. You couldn't ask for any favors, but she would always ask for favors, and that was very frustrating. And even if it was once or twice, it was your parenting time, and she could say her mother was in town, and you were like, "Well, that's her grandma, so I'm gonna let her go." And I'm like, I get it, but it was very frustrating to see you trying to parent in a mature way, to say, I'm not gonna be like that. Her sister's in town, or her mom's in town, or something, and then you never got like, I feel like the first 2 or 3 times, okay, we're gonna try to do this the civil way. After that, we're just gonna play by the parenting plan, because it takes two people to be reasonable. I didn't want your daughter to miss out on anything, but at the same time, you would allow her mother to do so much to the point that you were infuriated, and then y'all have a breakdown in communication, and then you couldn't see her for months. And
See,
that was frustrating. It was frustrating to me, because at that time, I'm involved, because I'm in love with her. I miss her. I want to see her. The kids all want to see her. They're looking for her. She's crying because she want to come over and see you and see us. And so, because you and her mom are not talking, everybody has to suffer.
it was rough, and I guess looking back at it now, you learn as a parent, and once they grow up, you learn the things that you did wrong. And unfortunately, during that time, a lot of the time early on, I'd say, unfortunately, maybe the first 10 years or so, I always felt like it could be taken away from me, because during that time, it was always taken away from me. So it was
A
the
lot.
father that I wanted to be. I never had the opportunity because the other parent would snatch it away. And as a defense mechanism, I always, and I didn't realize that till later on, that I treated my daughter like she could always be taken away. So you were there and I was present, but I wasn't present. And it kind of became that mechanism. Yeah, I'm gonna come get you if you want me here. If you want me to come get you, I will make sure that I'm always there whenever you need me. But I always felt like in the back of my mind, your mom can do something stupid and take you away, and I'll never get to see you again, because that was basically the cycle and what had been the norm in our relationship. She gets mad, I don't get to see you. And on the other side, I don't know what she was saying to you, my daughter, but it just it was a lot. So, now I think we're moving in a better place, and I can see some of those mistakes now. But it was just, I didn't have a man, I didn't have a soundboard, I didn't have a resource to go to say, all right, well, what do you do in this situation? Or, hey, how do you handle this when, your daughter's mom is acting this way? What do? You go to court and this is what happened. Now what? I didn't have somebody say, well, no, you need to see the process all the way through. There wasn't someone saying, yeah, I understand that the judge said this, but you didn't have her legitimized, and he's looking at it as he didn't, from the safe choice that he made, he didn't understand that I've been there for the last 3 years. I wasn't absent. I'm not just now stepping in. So when I come to court with you with police reports and this incident report, you're just looking at, okay, just erring on the side of caution. I'm not just going to give this female child to somebody that's claiming to be her dad, and I don't know if he's been involved.
But you weren't legitimized then.
And
And yeah.
I understand that now, but there was nobody that said that to me, and you were still early on in the
Hmm.
transitioning into that role, and
We hadn't done any legitimation, but it's the thing that taught us legitimation. It's the thing that we learned in that process, and started representing other fathers who were going through that same situation, because it was mind-boggling to me too. But that's how we both learned about legitimation in Georgia. And the same thing that we tell dads now, there'll come a time when your child is older and they will want to come live with you. They'll want to spend more time with you, and there'll be a time where they get to choose. And true to form, as she got older, she started asking, I want to come live with you guys. I want to come live with you guys. It wasn't anything that we prepped her for or talked to her about. It's just that she had gotten used to being there. And when she was there, just the feel of being home and loved and supported, and having older siblings. I'm sure that was a thing because she was an only child too. And this is not to say that her mom doesn't love her, because her mom do love her a lot. It's just that her mom was the first time mom, Charles was the first time dad, and just being young and going through parenting, and the relationship go a different way. Sometimes it affects your thought process about the person, and you let your opinion about the person affect how you co-parent.
And you get a lot of fathers, I think, that just going through that, they get frustrated and they say, the hell with it. I'll catch up when the kid's 18 and we can talk about it. But meanwhile, that child's had those 18 years to listen to what mom said, and you're not there. So that's the truth. I understand there's always three sides, your side, their side, and the truth. But I've only held one side, and they've had 18 years to instill that in me, and you weren't there. So it's one of those things that now in this position that I'm in, I try to tell them, there is an alternative. You don't necessarily have to wait till 18. And there are, I guess what kind of got me through it is there's lots of fathers that have been in the same situation that ended up okay, that didn't go to jail. Yes, they had to fight for it, and they were able to see their way through, but waiting 18 years, there's too many different things that you're going to miss. When a for the fathers that have daughters, the you may laugh and joke and say, well, this one has daddy issues. You not being there for 18 years creates that. When your son gets to smelling himself and he needs that role there, I understand you may have a stepdad or you may have uncles, but it's a different situation when it's your dad there telling you, you know what, son, I experienced this, or just knowing that he was there, whether you agreed or not, to help guide you through that point. And I think a lot of fathers get frustrated in that moment and during that time to just say the hell with it, and I'll catch up when you're 18. And sometimes it's too late. The damage is done. So it is, again, we do some of this podcast, and we have a firm with a team of attorneys to help you through this. So some of these times that I had to run my head into the wall and figure it out the hard way, it doesn't have to be that way for you. So that is, again, while when I get those calls and I try to tell those dads, if look, I understand this is where you are, but you need to think of the marathon, the end goal, and not just your emotions and your feelings right now, because what you do now is going to affect this child for the rest of their life. And they may be talking to a counselor later saying, my dad wasn't there, or he didn't do this and he didn't do that. And you're like, well, no, I tried. No, really, you didn't. You didn't, because
Or you tried, but you
you
didn't try hard
you
enough.
didn't try hard enough. That part. So you have the resources. Whether you can afford an attorney or you can't, you still have resources here. If it's just that you reach out and say, all right, can I get a consultation? During that consultation, we have different documents and things that we share with you. Like, look, here are just something on the process of legitimation. Look this over, read it so you can understand, hey, this is what the courts are looking at when it comes to custody, legitimation, these sort of things. So you won't go into it blindly how I did, and then you're upset with the outcome, but you didn't even see it through.
Well, the thing for me was you said that your child is going to have 18 years of just hearing one side of it. And it made me think about my childhood. My mom never said anything negative about my father at all. My mom actually spoke very highly of my father. He was such a good looking man, and he was so nice, and he treated me so well during the pregnancy, and he was this and he was that. And, she thought that he was a wonderful person, terrific person. And when they parted ways, it was just life happens, and she moved on and he moved on, and she never had any no, I mean, literally until he passed in January 8 months ago, she never ever had a single harsh word to say about him.
But tell me
His
this.
choice to not be there was his own, and my feelings for my father had nothing to do with her talking bad about him. It was me wanting him to be there, me missing him not being there, hearing all these great stories about how great he was. But dude, you didn't show up. Like, I felt like you didn't care if I lived or died, or it was either you knew or you didn't care. And I knew you knew. Like, I'm here. I'm here, and you didn't care enough to be present. You can't even say my mom was not this or my mom kept you from me
So
because she
she would have
didn't.
get, but she would have gave him opportunity to spend time with you and see you.
Listen,
Just that, but that's my question.
yes,
So,
yes.
so then my next question is, why does it always seem like the fathers that want to be involved
Mm.
have to go through so much hell to be involved, and the ones as far as the courts and just the child support, just all the craziness behind it, but the ones that don't want to be involved, they're able to just slide, not pay child support. They don't have to do. I don't understand where that
Well,
comes from.
I don't because that's not my perception, and I feel like it's very easy for everybody to play the victim, and you and I have had that conversation sometimes too. I don't feel like it's just the ones that want to be involved are have to go through so much. I think that it's a matter of perception. Are you looking at it as half empty or half full? That's one side of it, and the other side of it is, regardless of your opportunities to be a father, you choose who you have a child with, and if you chose somebody that's crazy, that person is crazy. It has nothing to do with whether you're good or bad or involved or not involved. If you have a child from someone that is a difficult person, all them signs are there. They were difficult before they became the child's mother. Y'all had difficult issues just dating before there was a, think back on them relationships.
They,
And if there was a difficult time in that relationship, it was going to be a difficult time co-parenting, a difficult time paying bills. They don't change just because they become a
what
co-parent
and
to
with
you.
that part that you're saying, it makes perfect sense. At the time, at 19 years old, 20 years old, I didn't even know. I When you say look back at it, I know the I can see that now. But
Hmm.
at the time, I didn't even know that those were cues for something. I just took them as a one off.
But I'm just telling you that that is more of it. It's not if you are a good dad, you're going to have more of a challenge because there's a lot of good dads and the mothers let those good dads be involved. Sometime, in my opinion, and again, it's just my opinion, people. A lot of times when you have those co-parenting issues, it's a lot more underlying issues than that. There's ill feelings about the relationship. There's ill feelings about, you cheated on this person or you're not doing enough because you're living a good life over here and they're struggling over there and they're feeling a little bit jilted and they want you to contribute more than the state says. Oh, you paid a minimum. You're paying your child support, but it's the minimum that the state say you can pay. It's usually based on emotions normally, but that's
Okay.
just my opinion.
Well, it was a lot of the process. I prolonged and I caused on myself. I can look back now and say it was based on emotions, and it was also based on not seeing a lot of it through. I think had I again maybe been better educated, not even maybe, if I would have been better educated and saw the processes through, because I again ended up dismissing a whole case, it would have been a different outcome. But it was not knowing fully how the courts work, how attorneys move, knowing what a guardian ad litem is, fully understanding what legitimation is, just understanding the whole process. That is ultimately, I think, what dealt to my frustration. And it was not having a podcast or a social media platform that I could go see some of these questions being answered, hear some of these stories being told, that ultimately would have energized me to see it through, or would have gave me a positive spin, or just some hope.
I think when you want something bad enough, you'll figure a way out. You'll figure out how to do it. If you want it, you'll figure a way to do it if it's important. And if not, you'll find an excuse. And because it was important to you, you tried it again. The first time you started, got frustrated and stopped. And then you started again and you saw it through the second time. But learning that process together, doing that for you, put us in a position to help other people do it. And so again, if you hadn't went through that, I don't know that we ever would have done it. Me going through my divorce, you going through your legitimation, us blending a family, us building a firm, us building a brand, doing all the things that we did together is how we can share our journey because there are other fathers that are frustrated. There are other people going through a divorce. There are other couples blending families and starting businesses and developing brands and they are looking for tools and they just need to know that other people have done it, went through the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, and came out on top and still going, still climbing. And so, you know, if you guys like our podcast, our podcast. If you like our podcast, just share. Continue to share, like, subscribe. We're going to be doing several episodes. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about, and if you are looking to gain access to your child, please reach out. TDE Family Law. Schedule a consultation. Let them know you watched the podcast and you want to schedule a consultation, and we'll take 50% off of your consultation fee. We'd love to talk to you. We should give them an access code. Podcast. That's the access code. Just tell me saw it on the podcast. We'll take 50% off your consultation fee. We'd love to talk to you, see how we can help you gain access to your child. We'd love to help you through a divorce or any family matter that you have. So, like, share, subscribe.
Thank you. Hey, fellas, it's Charles again with TDE, Family Law and Divorce Attorneys. I just wanted to give you a little bit of information, tell you what we're here to do, but I understand that you're probably looking at this because you're going through some type of situation that we can assist you with, whether it's your baby mom, whether it's your soon-to-be ex-wife, whether it may be just a parenting thing that you're going to help another family member with out. It's trying, it's stressful. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so nothing's going to happen quickly. The other thing that I want to point out to you is we're here as a resource. Whether you watch our social media ads, whether you tune into our podcast, you can like and subscribe, but hopefully from watching this, there's going to be more information that you can get. One way that you can get one of those resources is just by calling our office. We have people that are there to answer the phones, and they may be able to point you in the right direction. I know that you may have friends or buddies that have went through the court system and you're like, I'm absolutely against child support, but your child may be used as a pawn, or maybe your kindness is being taken as hostage. I'm here to tell you that me and our group of attorneys with a greatly skilled team are here to help you. Look us up on the website, and then from there you can schedule a call. Yes, sometimes these things can be expensive, but anything that you feel is worth it, you always find a way. And if you find your way to our law firm, we are here to help you